Hey, I'm Carl D. Scott. This is Randy Gilmore. We're the owners of Locally Spruced and Basil and Rex.
This is our first episode, and you most likely won't see Carl too many times in these episodes, but that's because he, has to work another job and he makes a lot of sacrifices with his time so that we can be here and so I can have time to work the store. And by the way, everybody comment down below, happy birthday. It's Carl's birthday. Locally Spruced is an Ohio collective store where local artists and businesses rent the space and then they get the proceeds from each sale. The point of Locally Spruced is to promote local and to help businesses and artists make that step closer to whatever success is for them. Basil and Rex is our local business, and we sell dog treats, shampoo, toys, and now our new products are beds that I will let Carl tell you about because that is his project and his baby. Our other new products are a leash, harness, and purse/fanny pack whole kit where you can be hands-free when you take care of your dogs. You can also use the leash with your hands, and we'll introduce all of this to you in another video. But today, I've actually wrangled Carl down for 5 seconds. He's very hard to get to sit still because he is just has so many things. He's so important. No, I'm just playing. But Carl is a chef. He is a small business owner. He is an artist and a writer. He is all of these things, including a father, a brother, a son, an uncle. We are all so many things, but in this channel, we're talking small business and local art.
I'm an executive chef by trade, and Basil and Rex came to fruition because of COVID. It's actually a feel-good story of COVID. As a chef, we have to taste things. I contracted COVID, lost my sense of taste. So it was kind of a forced pivot, if you will. And at the same time I got COVID, we got our first dog. So it kind of was fortuitous in the fact that the stars all aligned. So it was, I got COVID, I lost my taste, we get a dog, I make a pivot to making dog treats, just studying how your sense of smell correlates with your sense of taste and how that is even more enhanced with dogs. And that's how the recipes were created for the dog treats.
You also have learned, I think, about how you can get those health benefits from smelling it and tasting it, even if it's not.
Correct. It's kind of, food can be aromatherapy as well. When you smell delicious food, you automatically start salivating, get the serotonin going, you're happy, and same thing with dogs.
So at the same time that he was doing all of that, I was looking for the best products for our dog. The same way when you have a new child and you do all of the research because you want them to have the best product, I was looking for that for our dog. So eventually Carl and I actually had a conversation and decided that not only would we make our own product for our dog, but that we would sell it because most people do not have the time to do all the research that we did and then to actually make the things and figure out how to make them in a way where they're not going to go bad in a couple of days.
Yeah, the recipe is very important. It's very minimal ingredients and a little secret way to infuse the flavor profiles that we're looking for that drive dogs wild.
Well, we own two businesses. One is Basil and Rex, and one is locally spruced. While we're building locally spruced, I've kind of spearheaded locally spruced while Carl is spearheading Basil and Rex. We both still take part in both businesses. It's
a division of responsibilities.
So that we can get more done and more efficiently. So what do you think has been the hardest part of having this small business of Basil and Rex?
The hardest part to do Basil and Rex was just the initial getting it off the ground. Like any business, the idea, you birth the idea, but getting that idea on paper is kind of difficult. And then getting that idea to banks and the proper, I don't want to say authorities, but the proper channels, to say the least. That's the hardest part. Because I'm making treats, I'm a chef. It's all good. It's fairly easy. That part's fairly easy. Doing them consistently in a timely manner, that's probably a little difficult because I'm juggling these things plus my 9 to 5, plus family responsibilities. All that, plays a part, daily life. But, we've integrated these things, these businesses, our businesses, into our daily lives to aspire to be the next big thing.
So, I recently started watching a lot of videos about business and people who are successful, even if it's in small business or big business, the different things that each of them say about it. And you actually touched on what a lot of them say is sometimes the hardest part is just getting it done and getting started. You can plan and plan and plan, but there's never going to be a point in life that is the perfect time.
Correct.
So you just got to do it. You just got to start it. In small business, you either learn to do a lot of things that you didn't know how to do before because you have to do everything, or you make enough money in your business to be able to pay somebody else to do it. We are still in the phase of doing most of it ourselves, but we have been able to reach out and have a leather maker and a woodworker do the creation of our products, like the dog beds and our leather leashes and harness and bag. But before that, what is one of the things that you've learned from Marvin? I know you've done a lot of other businesses, but what is something that you've learned while doing Basil and Rex that you would want to maybe help somebody else learn so they don't have to learn it the hard way?
You have to learn to be open. I'm typically, I got the mohawk, I stand out, blah, 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 but I'm an introvert by nature. But you have to learn how to communicate. All business is relationships. So you kind of have to speak up. There's a saying, closed mouths don't get fed. So if you're not willing to put yourself out there, you're probably going to continue to be a small business, which is okay. But if you want to grow and be the next this, that, and the third, you got to talk. And a lot of times I get very uncomfortable. Even doing this is uncomfortable. I'd rather be on the other side of the camera. But communication is the key to the thing I had to learn. I knew, but I needed to put practice on a more consistent basis.
And he's still learning that, because if we go somewhere together, that's like
Her job.
where we either have to.
She's got a great laugh. I mean, I just look with her.
We either have to find vendors or businesses to work with, or just meeting other people within the community. You will make me do all the talking, and that's fine. Even though I am also an introvert, I have learned that you have to kind of like do it anyways, otherwise you're not gonna, your business will stay still. Part of the reason that we opened locally Spruced is that we were looking for a home for Basil and Rex, because we knew and still know that Basil and Rex will never be in a big box pet store. It's not going to happen. Between our prices, our quality, and the product that we use, the ingredients that we use to make it, there's no way to price it down low enough, nor do we want to. So when you have a product like that or a line, you have to find where you fit in retail, especially when you're talking about being small, starting out. So we were looking to open a Basil and Rex store, and we were looking at different places, and we were looking at not only different shopping areas, but also different types of shopping, and also different cities, different communities, and trying to find where it is that Basil and Rex would find its home and success. In that, we were already in a store that is a collaborative store or a collective store of local businesses and artists. It was on the west side of Cleveland, and we live on the east side, and so just to like proximity wise, it was easier for us to be on the east side if our store were on the east side. And while we were doing all of that, a lot of things were changing within that store, but we were just so in love with their mission and the way that it brought community together and small business. And there really wasn't anyone that was like, I'm not gonna say there's none on the east side, there wasn't any on the east side, but there wasn't any like, there weren't any that were exclusive to, one, being all local products, but two, being at that point where they were all businesses and that they had crossed that threshold from a hobby to a legit business. So no hate on people who do these things as a hobby, who go to craft shows and sell it as a hobby. That's awesome. But a lot of people end up hitting that point when they're like, you know, I'm doing really well. It's time to take that next step. Or maybe they never went that direction and they went directly into being a business. But none of these stores really did that. And so we were very excited to bring something like this to the east side. And we spoke with the previous owner of that store, and we spoke to someone who essentially ran it the entire time that it was open. And we got a lot of advice. We talked to a lot of other people, other businesses. Some people said, don't do it, but some people were like, yeah, do it. And, you know, even the ones who said, don't do it, they still gave their advice on, you know, their experience. So maybe we didn't have to learn every lesson the hard way. I'm all for learning things through other people and not having to learn the hard way. Like my son loves to learn everything the hard way, and that's, I'm not knocking him for it, but sometimes like it's good to learn from somebody else already made that mistake. So like, let's avoid that mistake,
Yeah.
right? So it was amazing to talk to a lot of those people. And then we also talked to a lot of businesses. We also went through a few mentors that really helped us with Basil and Rex and then the beginning of locally Spruced. And, shout out to them because like without them, we probably would have.
We'd still be in the living room.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely still be in the living room.
One of the things that Carl and I talk about a lot is finding our place and finding our way to the people who would appreciate and, shop Basil and Rex. And that's like a big struggle because you can always make products that, anybody can purchase. You can get it in any store, and price it out so that, you're not necessarily making a lot of money, but at least it's getting in front of people. So the more you sell, the more you make, versus Carl's dream, which was to sell a few and make money on those few because they're quality and we're putting our hard work into them. So they're not being mass produced because either we're making it or an artist is making it. And so you're not only taking into consideration the high quality ingredients or materials that we're using, but then our time, our expertise, and that type of thing, which costs a lot. I mean, think about how much you make. You gotta pay yourself at some point. At some point.
Yeah. At some point, we'll get
You
that.
know, wait till we can pay ourselves. But right now, everything is kind of going, every time we make money, it goes right back into the business. It's not that we're not making money, it's just that we're still building the business. So when you're building the business, you're putting the money back into the business. And, eventually, and that's more important to us right now, because Carl does still work. He is able to take care of our family, which our family really appreciates, especially me, because that means that I can be here at the store. So, Carl, what do you think, after my long ramble, what do you think is the hardest part of not necessarily Basil and Rex, but maybe Basil and Rex, of small businesses finding their way into? Because like one of the things that you've always reminded me is you can't, bow down to a lower level just because you want to make a sale. And that was like really hard for me to accept.
Well, the thing is, you have to trust yourself. And in doing so, you're kind of, it's how much do you value yourself, your time, your vision? What price tag do you want to put on that? There's a place for mass-produced products. That's how most of the world gets around and moves. However, it's one thing to go to McDonald's, it's a $1 billion business. No shade at that at all. But as a consumer, Ruth's Chris. That's a high-end steak joint, Hyde Park. I'm basically comparing burgers to steak. You're gonna dress better, feel better, everything elevated. And that's what I'm looking to establish with Basil and Rex as almost first of its kind canine lifestyle business, where our dogs are our best friends, and with a lot of us, they are our only family. Yeah, babies, they're our family. So we look at our dogs as our companion, our ride or die. And, there's no limit to what you would do for your ride or die. You're gonna, hey, I got a steak, you got a steak. I got this bed, you're gonna have this bed. So I'm looking at quality, and just the supreme amount of craftsmanship I can find to put in our business of Basil and Randi.
That's right. People have literally asked me when they looked at our dog shampoo, they're like, so everything in this I could use? I'm like, absolutely. You could buy our dog shampoo and use it on yourself. Absolutely. There's nothing in there that will hurt you. It is, made for a dog's pH balance, not a human's. So it won't be quite the same experience for you, but it will be healthy and probably more healthy than most of the stuff we put on our bodies.
Most certainly.
And so it actually probably be more moisturizing and soothing than most of our products that we put on our bodies. But anyways, so what you're telling me, like I think you're saying, is the experience, the lifestyle, and it's like, when you're taking your kids out, you can get McDonald's, and it's fast, and it's sustenance, and it's inexpensive.
Right.
But you could also take them to sit down and enjoy a meal and talk to each other and know about each other. And that's kind of like the difference. You can buy, even higher end things that are mass produced, and that's going to be better, but it's not going to be the same level of care, of ingredients.
All right, and we're also looking at that with locally Spruced as well. We curate all these small businesses, and the professionalism that goes into their products. Randi mentioned earlier, the artists and vendors here have graduated from being crafty. Again, no shade on crafting. I still do my little crafts and hobbies. She does hers. It puts us in a good space. Great. But when it comes to business, there's a different mind shift that you have to take. And the businesses in here have taken that step. We really enjoy meeting new vendors all the time, new artists. It's great to sit back and hear their vision, because a lot of times it mirrors what we're looking at.
And we've learned a lot from them too. Like a lot of times when they come in, they tell us about their journey and the hiccups they've hit and the successes that they've had. And I'm like, oh wow, I literally did not know that.
Yeah.
And I've learned from them, which has been amazing, because let me tell you, there were a few bumps in the road that we could have hit hard had we not had those conversations with these other small businesses. And that's part of why we're having this YouTube channel, is that we want you guys to not only get to know us, where you can trust us with your purchases, trust us with your time, but also where if you're starting out, whether you're an artist or a business, where maybe you won't have to hit all of those bumps, because we hit plenty, we just didn't have to hit all of them.
Right.
It's still Cleveland, there's still potholes. We just had a few filled in before we got to them. How's
Good
that for an analogy?
Good analogy.
So Carl, are you glad that we went with the locally spruced model versus the Basil and Rex model for the store?
Currently, yes. Eventually, like all the other businesses, I want Basil and Rex to grow and have its own museum quality store as well.
Absolutely. But that was part of it, is that we wanted other small businesses to find their way into the retail space where their products fit in. Not to say that some of these businesses won't eventually wholesale to big box stores, and that's great. If
Probably
that's-
a lot of their dreams.
There's a lot of money to be made in those big box stores, especially when we only accept, ingredients that are healthy, really bring something to that space. So we are helping them find their place in retail, whether it's wholesale, whether it's their own store or restaurant or gallery, or being a part of another person. There's so many different ways to take a business, and we just hope that we can help them take that step up.
Right. Locally spruce.
We hope that you follow along on our journey, and we'll see you in the next episode. Or at least
She'll see you in the next episode. I might be there. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see how this one turned out. No, just kidding.
I think I work best as a special guest character. Have a face for radiator.
I like this face. All right.
Showed you her teeth.
Also, comment down below about what if you could open or start any type of business or art or create whatever, what would it be? Or if you already have, put that link down there. Let us help support you. It doesn't have to be Cleveland, it can be anywhere. I hope you follow along with our journey as we grow and learn more, and maybe one day have lots of locally spruces where each state can support
Every state.
their local. Okay?
Couldn't agree more. Like and subscribe down below.
Bye.
Bye.